Today, your #1 news site in all of Kryta. With the recent awakening of the Elder Dragon Primordus, it seems the world is once again at the mercy of these ferocious beings. Here, to make sense of all these dragons, is our very own Bob Pale with the Elder Dragon Report. Over to you, Bob.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, the year is 10,000 BE, and that, as I informed, is Tyria. Yep, that's it.
Although quite different from the one you know of today. You see, something is about to happen that will change the world forever, and here it comes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you an Elder Dragon, one of a race of primordial beings who have started to awaken from their slumber to feed upon the magical energies of our world. And not just one. Oh no, look, there's another, and even more. Yes, in fact, there are 5 dragons in total who awaken and begin filling their stomachs with as much magic as they can find. Much like a Norn going crazy at all-you-can-eat buffet. Joke there, nice one, Bobsy. But it's not all good news. You see, while the dragons try to consume as much as they can, they bring devastation and calamity to the world wherever they go, which the other races of the world at the time really don't like. In fact, they don't like it so much, they try and stop them. And that goes about as well as you'd expect. Yep, not very well at all. Several of the races are wiped out completely, much like the Gigantus lupicus, massive giants who you really want to be under their foot. The whole mess is not helped by the fact that one of the races, the Massat, decide that all is lost and use their magic to make a quick exit from the world, leaving the other races to hide under the protection of a former dragon champion named Glint, until the Elder Dragons have had so much energy that they fall back into their cozy sleep for another 1,000 years. Which after a while, they do, allowing the surviving races to rebuild the world and put this whole mess behind them. But not for long! Well, actually, for quite a long time. About another 1,000 years to be precise. You see, in 1075 AE, the death of the god Abaddon releases a huge surge of magical energy into the world, which starts to stir the Elder Dragons from their rest. The first to pose a threat is, you guessed it, Primordus, who uses its army of destroyers to swarm the depth of Tyria, driving out the Asura from their homes and destroying multiple underground civilizations. But not content to let sleeping dragons lie, the dwarfs, along with some human and Norn allies, fight back and destroy one of Primordus' champions, the Great Destroyer, although he's not going to be doing so much destroying now, is he? This ultimately delays the awakening of Primordus until 1120 AE. So it's all calm again, nothing to worry about, and certainly no more dragons for a while. Wrong! You see, sometime between 1120 and 1165 AE, something starts to stir in the ocean, and wouldn't you know it, it's another dragon, although this time we don't know his name. So I don't know, let's call him Steve. Yeah, Steve is a good name. What? What do you mean Bubbles is a better name? Who would ever call a dragon that? God, sometimes I worry about you people and naming conventions. But anyway, as with any other dragon, Steve gets to work causing trouble in no time. First, forcing the lizard-like Krayt out of their homes in the deepest trenches of the unending ocean, and then forcing the southern Quagan out of theirs, which is just truly mean. I mean, look at them, look at their adorable faces, they're so precious. And, just to make things worse, in 1165 AE, the Dragon of Ice Jormag awakens in the far Shiver Peaks, causing the Norn to flee south after finding themselves outmatched against the dragon and its minions, not only adding more refugees to central Tyria, but also making it really hard to squeeze everyone in. So for the next 100 years, it's all quiet as the races try to get on with each other, most of the time not successfully, until in 1219 AE, the next Elder Dragon, Zaitan, arises, bringing with him not only hordes of undead, but also the island nation of Or itself. Yep, it turns out that he's been sleeping under it all this time. Who would have thought? And with its rising comes more flooding along the coastlines, as well as a fleet of landing ships stopping all seaward travel in and out of Kryta, which doesn't go down too well with fishermen, just like my mate Jim, who owns a small fishing company just near Lion's Arch, whose 2-for-1 Tuesdays you just can't beat. So with this many dragons now awakening in the world, surely there's no more left, right? Wrong! In 1320 AE, the next dragon, Kryta, awakens from his home in the Blood Legion homelands and makes his way south to the Crystal Desert, which is nice for him, but bad for anyone caught underneath him, who immediately turned into Branded, leaving a massive purple mark on my map. However, as this is happening, the races of Tyria agree that enough is enough, and a guild made up of each of the races called Destiny's Edge decide to take the fight to Kryta, who's still sunbathing in the Crystal Desert. Aided by Glint, yes, that dragon from all those thousands of years ago, who has somehow not gone grey yet, they put up a good fight against the dragon, which goes about as well as you might expect. Yep, it goes absolutely terribly. So bad, in fact, that one of the members of Destiny's Edge, Snaff, an Asuran, dies, along with Glint herself. Rest in peace. leaving the group scattered and broken. But this act seems to inspire Tyria as a whole, as just 5 years later, a Sylvari named Traherne, along with some allies, forms the Pact and leads them to recapture Or, which they do, successfully defeating Zaitam by firing a big gun at him. Imaginative. So it's 1-1 for humans versus dragons with all to play for. It's the dragons that take the next lead though, with the awakening of the final dragon, Morgemoth, and the revelation that the Sylvari as a race are just his minions, prompting a failed attack by the Pact in the Baguma jungle that ends up with the capture of Traherne. Still not content to just sit by and do nothing, the newly promoted Pact commander decides to launch an attack of his own, which ultimately destroys Morgemoth but kills Traherne in the process. So, no real points either side. Next up, it's Primordus and Jormag, who are taken out of the picture, and by taken out, I mean put back to sleep after a rogue god Balthazar tries to consume their magical energy, only to be stopped by the Pack Commander and the newly born Aurene, daughter of Glint, and one very adorable dragon. Not content to just walk away, Balthazar goes into the Crystal Desert and tries the same trick on Kralkatorrik, but this time using Aurene to exploit his weakness. At this time, the rogue god is stopped by the now newly named Dragon Champion, as if his ego needed any more boostering, and both dragons become more powerful, which would surely be a bad thing, but it turns out that killing the Elder Dragons was even worse. Who would have thought it? And to stop all of us from floating in the vacuum of space, we need to find another way to contain their magical energy. Lucky for us, Aurene has grown up just in time for us to stop Kralkatorrik, who at this point is in the mists. She absorbs his magic and becomes the first of a new generation of Elder Dragons, whatever that means. So it's happiness and joy as Aurene absorbs her grandfather's energy after a climactic showdown, making me feel slightly uneasy with that phrase and turning her into the Elder Dragon of Light. But not for long, as just 1 year later, in 1333 AE, Jormag is once again reawoken by some very misguided Char, who have some very big family issues, leading to Primordus awakening shortly after, which is where we find ourselves today, with dragons on the rise everywhere, and no one knowing quite what to do. Will we ever find a way out of this situation? And will I ever not be afraid of those dragons? Ah! There's one now! Oh, back to you, Sam! Thank you, Bob. I'm sure he's going to be okay. Ah! Save me, Sam!